Next up, we have the president and CEO of Qnext, Anthony DeCristofaro. And Anthony, we're going to be talking about safeguarding unstructured data in a zero trust environment. Anthony, great to see you.
Hi, Hunter. How are you?
You have an amazing company. Do you want to set a little context for Qnext?
Sure. Good question. So I think in general, we're seeing this tremendous momentum happening from old VPN of 25-year-old technology, what's called zero trust architecture. And we've seen the big likes of Zscaler, Cloudflare, Illumio, all that stuff moving on the network zero trust. What we do, and we focused on, and we're the first to basically bring it to market, we have now some significant partners globally, is the data version. So what we do is protect every piece of document wherever it is in a multi-domain environment. And we're an overlay service that unifies all that data, and it becomes productive, becomes seamless, and it becomes real time in terms of audit. You know who got what, when, why, and how. That's in a nutshell what we do.
And why is that so important?
Well, I think, we look at the bank. What's the important part of a bank is the money in the vault. Same thing with corporations. When you have ransomware and you have exfiltration of data, it's about your data. That's what we protect better than anybody today in the industry. And we protect every piece of document, every piece of vulnerable. You look at the health industry, the financial industry, and basically any large company that wants to end up minimizing or mitigating the portion of getting access to that data, like the Colonial Pipeline, who had 100 gig of data that was basically ransomware.
When did you first come up with this idea, with the approach and the company and the model?
That was a very good question, even more. It was actually, we started this almost 5 years ago and started to get into our companies and partnerships in the last year and a half. But we got focused on that document, that micro segmentation of that tiny piece. And all of a sudden we got exploded in terms of as zero trust. And of course, as you know, cybersecurity is becoming a very high bar on the priority of large corporations. So yeah, it was a baby that was created a long time ago, and now the winds are heading in our way.
Anthony, you're very passionate about this. When you think about your company and the problems you're helping solve for the CEO, the enterprise, the CISO, what is it about your passion that really comes to life?
I think the passion is all about believing in what you're doing and really adding value to the ecosystem, right? So we have a lot of partnerships from California. We're going to be announcing in the next 60 days, significant players in the zero trust network. We do the data. So every corporation has to understand, you take care of your network, you take care of your application. Now the question comes, and it was on Forbes magazine a couple of months ago, what about the data? Who is sharing with who, who's accessing it, who's taking it? That's what we do really well.
You have some really interesting partnerships that you're creating on a global scale. Can you talk a little bit about the significance of those partnerships, and can you actually name any names?
Yeah, for sure. One of them, we have a very large partnership with NEC Corporation, the largest computer company basically in Japan, and they've committed to roll out over 100,000 users in the next 12 months. We've got a partnership with Intel at a source code level. So their new generation processors, which we just tested a couple of months ago before their release, we're going to be able to deliver a document with any server that's using the new processor and drive that little key inside an enclave in the chip. So it's not in memory, it's not in storage, can't be accessible and viewable by the typical bad actor. And you're protected at rest as well. So that is kind of the partnership we have there.
Well, we're going to be all about winning and being successful in the enterprise into 2022, which I think in a digital scenario, it's really about winning, right? And protecting the enterprise 100%. What would winning look for you when you deliver value to your client and the enterprise?
Well, winning really at the end of the day is bringing that security to the data, bringing productivity. But our momentum now in terms of winning to get to that stage is now we already have corporations that are using our technology at mid-enterprise and now entering a significant activity at the larger enterprise is really getting there with the credibility of some very significant partners. And we'll see more and more of that with us and California partners. And so we have a pretty unique opportunity.
You know, when you think of unstructured data, it's a whole nother layer of problems. What do you think of?
I think the biggest challenge we've seen that we solve with most of the large enterprises is quite simple. It's a hybrid world. You've got data sitting on your NAS. You got data on Azure. You got data on-prem. You got data in the office in LA. You got data in New York. How do you seamlessly just connect it with software? And all of a sudden it's productive, but most important of all, it's in the highest level of security in terms of audit. That's the unstructured data issue is all this data is growing in multiple silos around the world. And we just kind of bring it together in an overlay service.
So in essence, is it a cloud or is it an overlay?
We're an overlay service, but we connect, of course, to the infrastructure in Azure or Google or wherever you are, including, you know, if you got to have access to Box, then we seamlessly do it through one window. And we bring, though, the zero trust architecture, which is identify each end, encrypt the pipe, audit the transaction in real time, and give the control over what you want to access, what you view only, what you want to download, price, and so on and so on. I mean, the feature sheet goes on for 355 items.
How can people get started, and what does that look like?
Well, actually, and that's a good question. 1,000 employees within a half a day would be ready to go and roll out the next morning with a temporary password, and it's pretty seamless. But I will kind of, give a little peek to the audience is that we will be ready for Windows 11 fully integrated as Windows rolls out a little later this year. So all of a sudden it's plug and play.
How exciting, right? And how can people reach out to you to follow up and get connected?
Hey, there's a ton of places, our website, connection, all the time. We're available, demos, whatever. We're easy as 1, 2, 3 to get connected to.
Size of enterprise, small, medium, large, does it matter? Or vertical industries?
It doesn't matter. Verticals, the big interest has been a lot of large Fortune 2000s. We're now doing a lot of mid-enterprise, and we started at the smaller companies who have vertical solutions that were needed to protect their data. So pretty open. We have partners around the world, by the way, that help integrate and install.
Great stuff. I look forward to more encounters and following up. It's a top pick by HMG Strategy. I'd really impress upon people to when Anthony and his team reaches out to take a meeting and learn more. Yeah,
thank you, Hunter. And we just got word that HP has given us one of the 10 top most promising enterprise solutions. So that's kind of neat from our partner there at HP Enterprise.
Very, very, very cool. And your website URL is
www.fileflex.com.
Great stuff. Hey, thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks.
And we'll see you again soon. Bye now.
Thank you very much.